Hey everybody, welcome. It's Craig from the University of Applied Research and Development, and we are here with Stephen Sutantro from Jakarta, incredible educator, good friend of mine, Google educator, amazing person, professional development leader. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Craig. How are you doing?
Really good. Great to be talking with you and learning from you again.
Yeah, me too. It's been a long time. Yeah. Greetings
Has
from
been a long
Indonesia.
time. And so I
Yeah,
was living in Indonesia for 7 years, and you and I were really working together on professional development for about 6 years.
yeah, long time.
Yeah. And so I've
Yeah,
been back in New Zealand for nearly a year. And so a lot has happened in between me leaving Jakarta and now. But
yeah.
I'd love for you to share just kind of your journey in education, how you came to be in education and came to be interested in educational technology, because I know a bit of your story, but I'd love for everyone to hear about your journey from you.
All right. My education journey started when I was become a teacher. So I think starting in 2011. Yeah. So around 10 years ago, and I spent my teaching year for 7 years as a social study teacher in a middle school at a private school in Jakarta, Indonesia. I was very lucky. At that time, I met a lot of passionate educators just like Craig and other amazing edtech educator, which actually dragged me to a community called Google Educator Group. I still remember when I started with you, Craig, the first group in Jakarta, the first group in Indonesia, which is pretty awesome. That's where I think I find my click. I find my passions in really helping a lot of people using technology in general. Yeah, and after that, after my 7 year of teaching, I decided, I think like 3 years ago, I decided to jump on a full time on leaving my teaching job. And I realized, I think one of the major reasons right now, there's a lot of technology people in education. Yeah, but we don't have like enough teacher who are helping a lot of other teachers in using technology. So that's what we need. That's what I felt like. I think I really need to fill the gap. And that's the reason, major reason. 3 years ago, I decided to be a full-time technology, well, we call it like education technology coach at Revo. And yeah, I'm helping currently like a lot, like 1,000 educators already, especially during this pandemic, which really bring me to, I mean, like to bring online learning to the next level. So I'm so excited to see what comes next. Yeah.
So during this time, obviously with the pandemic, a lot of people have had to been forced to use video conferencing, Zoom, Google Meet, Teams, all sorts of things like that. What have you noticed in education with the need to use the technology more? Has there been a shift?
Definitely, there's a huge shift and for us to see the technology. And I can see like a lot of people suddenly like it's very different. Yeah, when I start our Google Educator Group community before the pandemic, I call it before pandemic, and after pandemic is very different. So before the pandemic, it's very difficult to drag people to use technology. Like there's no urgency for them to really using the technology platform because they can still stuck with their own way of doing things. But now after the pandemic, when they cannot really see, I mean, like they cannot meet people physically, I can see like there's the huge difference, major difference is totally the change their mindset because they are forced to do that. So I'd like to address here that at the end of the day, what the major difference is, number one, is about how people want to use technology to solve their problems. I think that's number one thing. And I think this pandemic really bring people to see the problem clearly and how they cannot really, technology is not an option anymore. It's like really something they need to solve their problems, to teach online, to reach people more. So that's what I can see from now. So number one thing is really about change of mindset of the people and to really use technology to really address their problems.
So I really enjoyed going to professional development with you because you would always be talking about the latest technology, emergent technology, new technology, technology that might have been in another industry, but now it's moving into education, or education was the very first to actually use and experiment that technology. So what do you see from the technology from maybe a couple of years ago that's now really making momentum in training and development and education? What do you see is happening now?
I think at the end of the day, it's about how we can really addressing people's problem right now. So I would like to start. I always believe like there's a quote saying like technology will not replace people, replace teacher, but the great teacher with the technology will really make a transformations. So I do believe like when you mention about what kind of technology that will be, I mean like really trending in the future, I think the thing is we need to start from the problems that we are facing. Try to look from the problems that we are facing. Like currently we cannot, for example, like it's easy, for example, like how we can really have a better connection, collaboration in like, especially in this physical distancing situation like this. We already have a lot, like tons of technology on that, but I always believe there are always a space for us, so we really need to really address the problem of connection, because I believe people nowadays are desperate for connection, collaboration, because they cannot really meet each other. They are desperate for community. They are desperate for social interaction, which they cannot get. I do believe like right now, I don't know, like 5 years later, or even like 5 years later, I am not sure we're going to interact with people the same again. So I think the technology that really help people to connect it more socially and more meaningfully, that's something that what we are need right now, and that's something that we really need to put more focus on. So I think that's what I believe, because people need that.
How are you doing that when you're working with schools and educators? Is there a strategy or a pedagogy or a technology that you're using to enable that?
Yeah, I always start with the SMART principle. As you can see, SMART principle is like always when I meet the schools, or even like technology coordinator, I always say like every school is different. They have different needs, different challenges, different problems. So I would like to say them, when you choose a technology, when you want to have a training, try to set a SMART goals. SMART, it's come from like specific, yeah, measurable. It has to be a measurable impact, yeah, what you're going to achieve, and of course something that they're achievable, something they can afford. There are so many different schools have different socioeconomic status here in Indonesia. So instead of using like a sophisticated technology, but they cannot really afford it, let's think on something that they can really achieve. And the other one, and when you mention about SMART, it's about relevant. Is it relevant for your students and teachers? Is it something that, is it like the training is really relevant? Is it something that they need? Because we often like overwhelm, like in this situation, we often overwhelm people with different technology, different platform, but we need to ask ourselves, is it relevant for our teachers? Is it relevant for our students? And the last one, there should be a time base when you need to evaluate the results of the technology. So that's the strategy that I'll always use, Craig. When I meet the teachers, leaders, hey, you need to be really smart on choosing PD that you need. Yeah.
So you've mentioned that connection between people are hungry for connection. Is there a technology or something that you're using to help people to connect together in this difficult time that works in Indonesia?
Yeah. I'm currently leading a lot of MOE national educators now, helping them to really connect with other educators, helping them to help each other. So what we are using, of course, number one is a Google Workspace for education. The platforms such as like Google Meet, Google Chat, and YouTube is amazing. As you know, it's really connecting people to help people to chat, interact, and discuss with other people. Yeah. And the other one, of course, for group, I think we have a Facebook group, which I think something that I really use the most, because from the Facebook group, I really see how people are desperate to have questions, they're desperate for connections, they desperate for, to respond and expose themselves. So that's what I saw from Indonesia, Craig, and that's really works in helping us to see what happens in the other side of the world from our house. Yeah, because we are stuck in the house for long. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the social media use from educators, has that increased? Are people more comfortable and more active in social media than they used to be?
Yeah, definitely. Because right now, I can see from my community of educators right now, like, because it's very difficult for us to now together to meet. Yeah, we are desperate for that physical meet, because I believe there is nothing can really replace that, right? Physical connection. But instead of, well, we cannot get out, we cannot get together. So what we actually trying to do is that we update a lot of status, we share a lot of meaningful posts, and so it helps people to really see what happened in the other sites. So I think I can see that from educators, especially when they help each other through tutorial video, from their sharing their best practice, from sharing their, any tutorial, any tips that can help the other educators to catch up with the technology and also solving the problems. I think I can see like there is a major save in that. Yeah, great.
Sounds like the pandemic is a horrible thing. It sounds like, though, it has forced people to join a community of practice. Yes. And to be involved, and even maybe that desire for connection, they could get it in another type of group, but they've chosen to be in an educational group. And the benefit is that they're actually getting professional development while also having that emotional need for connection fulfilled at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the keywords here is they need more inspirations also, because inspirations, there are so many inspirations, of course, but when you see someone, your friends share the inspirations, I think that's really connect you to the most, like really stick in your mind. So that's the power of group and community of practice.
So I know one of the places that we're working with, and here in New Zealand at Panama Road School, we've focused on the Spheros, which you and I have used back in Indonesia a number of years ago, but somewhat new in terms of using it really well and embedding it into the curriculum here in New Zealand. We just invested into Drone Legends from the USA. Don't know if you're familiar with that. Are you aware of some new emerging technologies in education in Indonesia that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I think currently right now, one of the most popular one in Indonesia that we are focusing is about learning analytics. It's learning analytics because people, really need to measure the learning process here, especially in this super unpredictable online learning. We cannot really measure how students learn. So what I can see, like learning analytics has one of the biggest dramatic role. As you can see here, a lot of people are offering like a statistic dashboard, to see attendance. I can see some of the teachers are really creative, to track the attendance of the student, to track participations, really to measure everything. Because right now we cannot see our students. It's very difficult to measure how our students learn. So I can see learning analytics has one of the major role here right now, because it's very important. The second one that I can see is about gamification. It's another a lot of online gamification platform that really boosts engagement, because right now it's very, very difficult to engage with our students, right? So gamification really boosts engagement and participation. That's what actually we need now.
I guess they would go hand in hand. They would go together, wouldn't they? The gamification for engagement and progress through learning and rewards, and then the learning analytics to measure that. Is there a particular platform or a particular software that you're using for the learning analytics that you would recommend?
I use a lot Google Data Studio. I'm not sure if you have seen that. Google Data Studio is like currently we are tracking like attendance, and we want to report it. And we are working with a lot of data, and how we can really make sure that that data is meaningful and presentable. So what we are doing is really combining with Google Sheets, of course, Google Form, Google Sheets, and Data Studio. So those three apps, when you combine that, when you track and use this as a tracker, I think that really make your analytics more powerful. Because I have seen that impact when the teachers really track our students' attendance, participations, and also, you know, presenting how they interact with the class using Data Studio. I think that's really, wow, I'm really impressed how they really combine those three apps to make sure that the learning happens in very, very measurable way.
So I guess working with schools and defining some SMART goals, and then embedding the use of the Google Workspace and then social media to support teachers as well, learning analytics and gamification. I guess coming along with that, if people are comfortable with this, with Zoom, people are right there in front of their screen. So you'd be training them on not only how to open the analytics and where to click, but I guess the reason why you would do that and how you use the data, because that whole use of it, and you know, you've got the information, but what do you do with it after that? What are the challenges that you're facing with helping teachers understand how to use the learning analytics?
I think number one is about when we mentioned about teacher Indonesia contextually, there are numbers of challenge that we are facing. Number one, of course, the difference. I mean, like the differentiated skills. I mean, like they have like unequal. Like there's a huge gap between teachers who have, you know, super high tech skills, and the other one who have no idea how to operate technology. And that's what I'm seeing there. But the thing is, like, it's very important for me to really, as a teacher, as a coach, you need to differentiate the instruction. Because when you mentioned about just like what I mentioned about learning analytics, you know, well, not many people, even like talking about Data Studio is like really advanced. Some people have no idea about Google Forms. So that's number one thing that I really want to address, like really how to standardize the technology skill of our teacher. That's number one thing. So we have a basic same standard. The other second thing, of course, Indonesia, we always talk about infrastructure. Again, it's an unequal access to infrastructure. When we talk about, well, Google Workspace, well, the platform can be accessed anywhere, but the thing is like, you know, internet infrastructure, computer is not for everyone. So that's the second challenge that I face. So sometimes, you know, you have to be very, very flexible and really try to adapt things. Is very, very important in addressing this challenge.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how do you overcome that? And I can remember being in multiple professional development workshops with you, and you telling me, Craig, can you just start from the beginning again? Yes. You know, for the benefit of the teachers that were in the room, because some people had different laptops and different devices and different speed internet and different starting points. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and to standardize the skill and the understanding of the teachers, would you agree that that's all about teacher training right at the very beginning before they go into the class?
Yes, I definitely agree. Right. And if I can add, beyond the teacher training itself, to standardize the skills, it doesn't, I mean, like, it's not enough to have like 1 or 2 trainings. Believe me, like I've been experiencing like 2 hours will not standardize your teachers' skills directly. You need to have a coaching and mentoring session, which it takes time. Definitely just take time.
I like that you said that. It's the coaching and mentoring ongoing.
Yep.
I remember when we first started doing professional development together, your big push for everyone to understand was developing your own professional development. And you were the king of Coursera in Indonesia and pushing that along and demonstrating your learning. Just as we wrap up, Stephen, I really appreciate you giving us some time and sharing. And I've been making notes, and I hope people have as well. So there's
Wow.
lots of notes on my page, from the SMART goals
Awesome.
to the workplace and social media analytics, the challenges, how you overcome them. Is there anything that you would like people to know who are not from Indonesia? Is there anything words of wisdom you would like to give them? Because sometimes, coming from a New Zealand perspective or an American or Canadian or, even another country perspective, what should we know about Indonesia that someone doesn't know?
Well, when you talk about Indonesia, it's really about people's power. I think, Craig, you probably miss the friendliness and the, helpful spirit, especially in these situations. And I would like to say that I think not only Indonesia, this is something that we are currently right now. I think what I would like to say to everyone here, it's actually inspired from Indonesia. If you want to go fast, you can go alone, right? But I would like to suggest Indonesia, we are super famous in helping with each other. Like togetherness is a strong values here. And I would like to challenge you is don't just go fast in this situation. Let's go far. But if you want to go far, let's go together.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what I would like to say. Let's go far by going together.
Really nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen. Hey, Stephen Sutantro, incredible educator from Indonesia. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being with us.